Is the Michelin PS4S a tire that you should buy? The Michelin PS4S has always been a tire that I've actually always wanted. I've typically put Continental DWS on almost all of my cars, ranging from a Jetta, Audi S4, Honda S2000, BMW M4. I've always put the DWS because I lived on the East Coast, so there was a lot of incremental weather. You had to have a tire that could kind of do everything. But I dreamed of having the PS4S because it was regarded as a tire that kind of did everything well. For dry weather climates, it's a tire that's known to be pretty reliable. Like the actual feel of the tire is supposed to be really good. It's also supposed to handle some twisty roads. It's supposed to be a great handling tire and a much sportier tire than your kind of average all-weather tire. So I have now put on Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires on both my S2000, and I also put them on my BMW M4. It's one of the best tires I've ever driven for a climate that doesn't have a whole lot of rain and doesn't have any sort of snow at all. This tire is really dailyable. It's nothing crazy. You're not going to lose traction just driving around town, and it's not a super thin tire wall. Both on the BMW M4 and the S2000, the tire wall is quite thick, which actually allows for some comfort. You know, it's not just the suspension that really is how your car feels when it's riding down the road. There's much more beyond the suspension. A lot of it comes from the actual point of contact with the road. So if you have a softer tire and a harsher suspension, it might feel better than a really hard tire with a loose suspension, you know? So the PS4S is a soft compound tire, but it also doesn't wear super fast. When you look at Michelin Pilot Sport tires or Sport Cup 2, those are tires that really wear out very fast. If you're just driving it on the road, you're gonna find that after maybe 2,000-3,000 miles, you're going to have extreme wear. And that's just because the compound is so soft that it's really meant for aggressive driving where you're really on it. You need the tires to be super sticky, and that comes at the cost of just not having as much tire life at all. So the first aspect of a tire, and I think honestly one of the most important, no matter who you are, what type of road race car driver you are, you always have to think about, okay, can I really drive this tire? Can I use it every day? You know, most of us aren't going to be pushing their car 10/10ths every single time you get in the car. The second factor, and one which is important, and I think important to a lot of us car people, is how does the tire feel when you're in the twisty roads, right? When you really want it to grip. Well, I can personally attest that this is the best tire that I've ever spent long-term ownership time with. This tire grips like nobody's business. On my M4, I bought the car with just sort of your normal sport tire, and it was fine. I thought it had good grip. You could really light up first, second, third gear, and it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. Once I slapped a new set of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires on, and I went to the canyons, it was a crazy experience. It genuinely gave me the sense of a race car. And I haven't driven a true race car, but I have driven a shifter go-kart with slicks. And it really gave me some remnants, some feelings of a true race car with slicks. It really gripped the corners like nobody's business. It was just a pretty amazing experience to go from what I thought was a good tire to a tire that is brand new, has lots of tread life, and is meant to be, you know, thrown into some corners. Once you get the tire hot, and once I really completed the first, maybe 3-4 miles of driving and I got the tires warm, they just became more and more alive. And the fact is, I'm not pushing the car hard enough to actually notice, the breaking point on a twisty canyon road. But up to the limit, up to the point that you feel comfortable driving, this tire is amazing. So I think the fact that there is this sort of duality to the tire, that it accounts for super sporty driving. Of course, if you're going to a track, you're going to want even sportier of a tire, but it accounts for everything and probably more than you could really use on the road. And you can still drive at 20,000 miles, right? So it's still a hard enough compound to be a great daily tire. I had a friend that also had this tire on the East Coast, and even in the snow, while yes, it's not going to be as good as a snow tire or all-weather tire, it still did okay. Much better than a very sporty compound. So I think this tire is a win. Do a little acceleration here. And when I put the tires on this Honda S2000, it was kind of the same feeling. Before, I had, again, the same thing, the tires I bought the car on, and they were just an average tire. It was fine. This car doesn't have a ton of power. It's pretty light, so puts its weight down very nicely. And to be honest, you aren't really going to push this car to its limit because it doesn't have the power to kick out in a corner. But I slapped these tires on, and again, I took it to the Canyon Road. Not once did I lose any grip. Not once did I have a single moment that I thought this car was gonna, snap out. The downside to the PS4S is it's expensive. For a full set of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, and now they even have the 5S, it's gonna run you roughly $2,000. For some cars, it'll be $2,200, $2,300. For some cars, it might be just below $2,000, but it's an expensive set of tires compared to your normal all-weather tire or just average tire that will run you, maybe $500, $600. So you have to know what you're getting and kind of expect that. But if you do have a sports car and you're going to have it for a couple of years, you want some good, reliable, safe tires, I really suggest the PS4S. It's a wonderful tire. It's never kind of left me questioning if I should have bought them. I think ultimately it's an investment in safety, and it sounds funny, but it's true. The tire is the only point of contact with the ground. So as much as it is sort of a, extra thing to get PS4S, you need good tires, you need safe tires, and it's your life, you're driving, you should always make sure to choose a tire that is capable and ready for what you're going to put it through. But for $2,000 to get an awesome set of tires that will do you well on the day-to-day, but also allow you to kind of leverage more of the car's performance in the canyons and the tight roads when you're really pushing it, to me is worth it. I'm curious to feel the next step, what sort of like a Cup 2R or even a Cup 2 would be like. I think one day, once I get a car that really has probably over 500 horsepower and I use as more of a toy, hopefully someday soon, I'll get the Cup Rs or I'll get the Cup 2Rs, and maybe I can compare the difference there. If you've been considering the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, the PS4S, I hope this video helped you. I hope it kind of explained, an owner's point of view and maybe convinced you if it's worth it or not. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comment below, or if there's any other tires that I should test. Again, thanks so much for watching. Many more videos to come.